one of the smartest things that we did is we created a really cool loss leader. We call it our $59 drain clean. It gets us in the door. And where we've had a lot of success is our guys are just so good at solving problems. And one thing our company talks about a lot is permanent solutions.
This podcast is sponsored by Action Coaching. If you're a home service business owner, ask yourself this: are you constantly chasing new leads or just keeping the business growing? Ben Jordan built a $100 million plumbing and HVAC company. Inside the Action Group, he teaches contractors how to create recurring revenue, strengthen leadership, improve sales, and build systems that reduce the owner's day-to-day involvement. Members get weekly coaching, practical templates, proven scripts, and strategies designed specifically for home service businesses. If you want to get out of the truck, build something that runs without you and creates real wealth, check out the Action Group on School and book your free consulting call.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by Josh Jordan, who is the CEO of American Rooter and Drain. We were just chopping about the Nuggets because even though Josh is in Idaho, he actually apparently grew up in Colorado. And the Nuggets, if you're listening to this a month from now, I hope the Nuggets are still in it, but we'll find out after tonight. So, Josh, man, tell us about your business. Tell us how did you get started and how did we wind up where we are?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Colorado with my brothers. They owned an appliance repair business. And so at, I want to say 15, I was running calls, and we had some employees that they could drive, but they couldn't really sell, and I could talk. And so I'd partner with them. I'd go out, I'd run service calls, and we were a deadly team. And as soon as I got my driver's license, that was the green light. My brothers sent me out on the road, and I was then repairing refrigerators, washers, dryers, pretty much anything until right about in the 19, I decided I wanted to join the Marine Corps. Now, you have to remember, right about that time, 9/11 happened when I was a junior in high school. And so I had this burning desire. I had to get out there. I had to serve our country. And so I take off for 4 years, and I'm stationed in 29 Palms. I'm doing my part, been deployed to Iraq. And at this point, I moved to Idaho because my sister lived here. I'm working in the trades with them. They're doing HVAC, doing so a little bit of plumbing, and I just wanted more. So between trying to buy that business, starting my own, I came across a awesome deal. It was a 75-year-old business that it had been passed down between 3 sons. It was started by the dad named Mac McCrae, and it went through each son. In 2019, he had 3 daughters. The daughters all got married and moved away. He couldn't pass it on, and he sold it to me. It's actually a really cool story, but that's how I started with American Rooter. It was actually called McCrae, but I ended up changing the name, kind of rebranding a little bit, and we just hit the ground running. So it was quite an experience, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a fun journey.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, well, tell us, is the current branding different than what I see on your Facebook profile here?
No, so it's still American. We just added HVAC and electrical. So we're American Rooter and Drain. That's our main company, but we do HVAC, electrical, plumbing. And so we kind of do it all at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Well, okay. Educate me a little bit, because I'm not a home service guy. So I'm going to play naivete here. What the heck is Rooter? Because I see Rooter all the time. And is that just drain related stuff, different than like actual plumbing?
It is. Yeah. So
because I see like Roto Rooter and these huge Rooter franchises, and the definition and distinction has never been super clear to me.
Yeah. So the Roto Rooter did such an amazing job that it's like the Xerox, right? Like you're like, we got to Xerox something. So Roto Rooter, that's what they did for drains. So essentially it was just drain related. And when we first got started, plumbers hate drains. I mean, nobody wants to actually play in other people's crap, right? So we started with just the drain portion. And so we were calling all the other plumbers in the area saying, hey, listen, we don't do any other services. And this is before we added the HVAC and the plumbing. But we said, just send us your drains and we'll take care of it. And so what we did is we outfitted every single one of our vans with a jetter. which is, if you think about it, it's basically a pressure washer for the drain lines. And through that, we've been able to actually go out to a customer's house. If they have a clogged drain, we're actually able to pressure wash through the entire thing and clean all of the lines out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, keep going though. That was interesting to me. So what happens next? So you guys built a $15 million business just clearing out drains, or like how do you get in people's households? Where does it all come from?
Yeah. So, obviously, one of the smartest things that we did is we created a really cool loss leader. So we call it our $59 drain clean. And what's really cool is if a drain has like just hair in the shower, we'll come out, we'll clean it for $59. But typically what happens is a lot of these older houses, especially here in Idaho, have like Orangeburg or, cast iron, and the pipe's actually starting to close up and it actually has problems. So first we'll jet it. And then we were the very first companies in Idaho to bring the trenchless sewer repair. So I don't know if you've seen those videos where they shoot a liner and it looks really cool, but it inverts. Yes. We were the first ones in Idaho to do that. And right now, the majority, probably 70% of our business is all that trenchless sewer repair. Dang. So we'll come out, we'll dig one hole really close to the house, we'll invert that liner, and we'll completely basically put a brand new sewer line from the house all the way to the city's main without tearing up their whole yard.
Okay. And this is really pressing or prevalent or relevant because number one, Denver here in Colorado, they just came and basically replaced all the lead lines that connect directly to the city. And it was a total hassle. They literally went every single road. They dug really like invasive holes and roads were shut down. And then secondly, I've had to replace my sewer line and it's brutal, right? Yeah. So is it more cost effective? And then what's the downside of doing something like that?
So it costs more money, but not if you actually have a nice yard. So to give you kind of an example of it is I bought kind of a fixer upper. It's on 6 acres and my wife has a green thumb. I mean, she's got the prettiest garden and we put grass down and we put in tons of trees, and that was expensive. You're talking about expensive, like planting trees all of a sudden is expensive. And so if you're willing to tear up your yard and start over, it's cheaper to just bring a tractor in and just completely destroy your yard. Compared that to our actual lining and what we're able to do, I'd say we come in way cheaper than the typical, let's tear up a beautiful yard. But if you were comparing the two, it'd be like, yeah, liners are more expensive. So
the $59 drain clean is actually your Costco hot dog that potentially leads you more to the sewer line replacements.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. We lose our butt on that. Like, we can't make any money at $59. I mean, if you filled up your trunk at all recently, that doesn't even fill up the tanks. But it gets us in the door. And where we've had a lot of success is our guys are just so good at, they're not selling, we're solving problems. And one thing our company talks about a lot is permanent solutions. And so we're not putting a Band-Aid on it. We're not going to go in there and patch one little section. We're actually going to solve their problem to the point where they're never going to have to worry about it again until they either sell it or until they give the house away 20 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Corberry Digital. If you own an HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, or home service business and you're tired of wondering where your next lead is coming from, you need to check out Corberry Digital. Corberry specializes exclusively in helping home service companies dominate their local markets through SEO, Google Ads, local service ads, websites, content marketing, and lead generation systems that actually produce a measurable ROI. Their team doesn't just focus on clicks and impressions. They help contractors lower customer acquisition costs, increase qualified leads, and build a marketing engine that scales. What I like about Corberry is they understand the blue-collar space. They aren't trying to be everything to everyone. Their entire focus is helping trades businesses win in their backyard and generate more profitable jobs. If you're looking to grow your business, improve your online visibility, and build a marketing system that works, visit Corberry.com and schedule a strategy session with their team. That's Corberry.com. Tell them you heard about them on the podcast.
What's up, everybody? This podcast is sponsored by Grimes Financial Advisors. You've spent time and energy building a successful business, but here's the question. Do you have a real retirement plan or just a pile of investments? Our friends at Grimes Financial Advisors specialize in helping business owners and families create a clear roadmap for retirement through their proprietary retirement blueprint. Instead of focusing only on investments, they look at the entire picture: income planning, taxes, long-term care, legacy planning, and making sure your money is actually working for the life you want to live. I've gotten to know Dustin personally. One of the things that I respect most about him is he believes every financial decision should fit into a bigger plan. You shouldn't just chase returns. So whether you're 5 years from retirement or simply want a second opinion on your financial strategy, I highly recommend reaching out to Dustin and his team. Visit Grimes Financial Advisors to schedule your consultation and start building your own retirement blueprint.
What is going really well in your business right now, and what's a big challenge you guys are facing?
So what's going really well is, I think every business has that sweet spot where when you first start off, we were probably at 20% of revenue was going back into marketing. I mean, it was way higher than, if you read any book, they're like, oh, you should be between 5 and 7%. Well, it didn't make the phone ring, right? And right now where we're at, a lot of those return customers, a lot of referrals, a lot of people that have heard about us, the phone's just starting to ring organically. And that's just from doing the right things over and over and over and being really consistent with that. So although I haven't lowered our marketing budget, we're just getting way more bang for the buck. And that's just consistency.
Yeah.
Challenges is always going to be, I think, with the staff. And mostly it's because my standard is just really high. And to put it really simply, so I have 4 kids. I have a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 7-year-old little girl. And this is my rule. If I wouldn't have my kids hang out with this person, they don't work here. And it's almost that simple. Like, they have to bring that much value. They have to be that good of a person that I could say, hey, we're going to go fishing and we're going with John today. And I'm going to bring my kids. And so if they don't pass that litmus test, they don't work here. And that's been one of the biggest things that we have such a good team because of that.
Yeah.
I just truly believe that if you come into work, it should be with the people that you just absolutely love to hang out with. And to be honest, that's been the hardest thing, because you'll get guys that are just so their skills are just next level, but they have a really crappy attitude, or they're not somebody that you would want alone in a house with your wife. So they don't work here,
Yeah. I had a thought. Well, tell us about the decision to add, you had said HVAC and electrical you've added now?
Yeah.
So what was the decision to do that?
So when we were just doing the drains, we had so many customers that just loved what we do. And we perfected what we call our perfect service call. So it's where we park, how we knock on the door, what our uniforms look like, how we put on our shoe covers, to everything about it, that we just kept having customer after customer saying, man, I wish you did the HVAC. I wish you could look at our electrical. And, the customers will always tell you what you're missing. You just have to listen. And I think that's where a lot of business owners kind of get caught up, is they think they know the way, and they shut off the listening portion of being able to grow. And so you hear that enough, and all of a sudden I started realizing, okay, this is something that we had to add. And here's the thing is, I actually have my journeyman HVAC. Here in Idaho, you can get your master's as well. So I have my master's in HVAC. And it was just one thing that although I love the drain portion of it, I knew this was something that our customers needed. And so we added the HVAC, and we started it really slow. What I wanted a perfected service that we didn't lose any of the quality. And so we rolled it out slower than I did even our drain side. And then we did the same thing with electrical. We added the plumbing, and it's just taken off. It's been just huge for this state.
That's awesome. Has it been challenging getting outside of your primary business? Have you had any snafus with adding electrical or adding HVAC? I'm not sure I understood it as well as I thought, or has there been any of that?
I think on the electrical, that's been the most challenging, mostly because I didn't I didn't know much about it, but not really. I think as long as you have the right crew, as long as you're willing to hold your guys to a certain standard, I think it's an easy development to just
Yeah.
keep moving into that for
Yeah.
sure.
This episode is brought to you by 10X Nerds. If you're a business owner doing real revenue, there's a good chance you're overpaying in areas you haven't even looked at. Things like credit card processing, insurance, telecom, and more. 10X Nerds comes in, audits your expenses across 30 plus categories, and finds immediate savings. And here's the kicker. They only get paid if they save you money. It's a complete no-brainer. If you want to keep more of what you make, go check them out at 10xnerds.com. This episode is brought to you by my friend Silas Lagoy over at ForgeMark Wealth. If you're a high-income business owner or professional and feel like you're getting crushed by taxes, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck. ForgeMark Wealth specializes in advanced legal tax strategies and wealth planning designed to help you keep more of what you make, grow it efficiently, and actually build long-term freedom, not just income. If you're making serious money but don't have a real strategy behind it yet, I highly recommend connecting with Silas and his team.
Let's talk about AI for a second. How are you guys integrating AI into your business?
Yeah, the AI, it's been huge. I'm a firm believer that there's portions of this business that I don't think are ever going to completely be changed out with the AI. But if you're not using it now, if you're not trying to perfect it, then you're already years behind. I talked to a few different owners around here and they're really hell-bent on, I'd never use that and it's horrible. But how we use it is job costing. Like my job costing is so good because as my guys are actually building the estimate, my sales manager can actually log in and say, hey, if you sell it for that and it takes 2 days, we're going to lose our ass. So you need to increase that price because it's a 2-day job. Anyways, AI is doing all of this in real time, which is keeping the margins where they should be. And so between truck stocks, I mean, anything that you can automate that doesn't need a warm body, I say you got to plug in that AI. You have to.
Yeah. I love that. What's one thing that gets you fired up that we haven't talked about at all today? Could be anything. It doesn't have to be related to business. Could be family, faith, fitness, finances, hot takes about sports.
I'm actually really fired up right now on just getting fit. My kids are in sports. A lot of my guys want to do better. And so I'm just a firm believer that, I have to show them by example. You always have to be the example. And so every morning I'm here at 5:30 a.m. And this is the cool thing about our business is I have a mezzanine upstairs and the whole thing is a gym. I turn the entire thing into a full gym with a wrestling mat. And I joke around when we hire new guys. I'm like, that's how we determine who takes out the trash. You better get good at wrestling. So, but that's been my thing is I want to show these guys, hey, if I can do it, if I can live off of 4.5 hours of sleep, still run my kids over to soccer, run the business, and be here, then what's your excuse? Let's change your life. Let's change your family tree. So it gets me fired up for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Josh, this has been a lot of fun to have you on the show. Where can people find out more if they want to learn more about you?
That's awesome. So my email is Joshua@Idaho's Plumber, and that's Idaho's with an S. And my phone number is my personal cell, and anybody on your show can actually call it because I've been watching your stuff. In fact, you actually did a podcast with Ben Jordan.
Yeah.
And that's my nephew.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, that's incredible. Yeah. So Ben and I, that we really hit it off. That's crazy. We're talking about becoming a vendor for his coaching clients. And then Action is here in Colorado. So, and I didn't realize this, but he's like BFF with Andy Elliott, and those guys have been recruiting the crap out of me. So there were like 3 degrees of, connection, which was crazy.
Well, so I'm the youngest of 10 and Ben's dad is my oldest brother. And so I actually didn't grow up with my brothers. I grew up with my 3 oldest nephews, which is Kimball, Daniel, and Ben. And that was my crew. That was the baseball team. We played football. We shot windows out with our BB guns, that was the crew that got in trouble. And so I'm closer to Ben, more like a brother. And so it was funny because I was like, I'm going to jump on a podcast. And he asked who, and he's like, man, tell Andrew I said what's up. So
it is crazy, Josh. In a very short amount of time, I have gotten to have conversations with a lot of like people in this space. And I never expected that when I started the podcast. It's been probably one of the best ways to have meetings with owners and founders. And I feel like I've gotten a master's degree in the trades just by having the conversations. And so I love that. It's funny when you get into the niches, like they're kind of small communities, like the pest control community is pretty tight knit. I've realized that about those guys. It's pretty insular. They all talk to each other. So that just fascinates me. And then one of the things that encourages me about the trades is how willing people are to share their ideas. Not every industry is like that. But in the trades, people are very open. Like, this is what we're doing for, ads, and this is how we're recruiting guys. I wish more industries were like that,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing that you can't take with you, right? Like once we're all gone, it's the knowledge. That's the only thing you can pass on. And so I'm like
Yeah.
an open book. Like I share with my 17-year-old, I'll say, hey, this is what our books look like. This is how much we spent in advertisement. And he wants to go on and become like a mergers and acquisition lawyer. Like this kid's freaking sharp. And so it just fascinates him every time I open up the books. But that I do that with anybody. If any of my employees are like, hey, I want to learn more about this, I said, all right, come in, but get ready for the fire hose. And I turned it on. So, but you
Yeah.
are right. If you hold that to you, I don't think it's like a river, right? Like you can't dam it up and expect more good to come in. You have to just be willing to just let it flow out one side, and you just keep bringing in more and more. So,
By the way, I didn't even ask you, are you guys in a major metroplex, or are you out kind of in the more in like a rural or suburban area?
we're right in the middle of the Boise area. So
Okay.
we're in the city, but total service area, I think there's 1 million people here. So we're small. Like in terms of, I think there's 1 million people just in Aurora, maybe even more, right? And so to be able to do 15 million is like we're busting our ass. Like we're doing some really cool things to be able to do it.
You are. No, that's really impressive, man. I'm cheering you on. That is incredible. And it's crazy to me that how much opportunity there is in this space, and you could easily be at 30 to 50 million probably somehow, especially adding on the extra lines of business. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about our next venture. I've been working with Ben too to really just hone in, because it's so crazy that how our skill sets are all a little bit different. Like Ben is phenomenal. You put him on a camera, that dude is so good. And so I was even telling him, I'm like, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm a little bit more nerdy in that I focus on the structure of the business. And I'm like, you don't have to show my face. I want to work on the nitty gritty and know where every penny goes. And he's very much like, I'm going to get to know everybody in the industry and I'm going to be able to sell. And so together we do some really cool things.
Well, I think you're doing amazing. It's been really, really fun having these conversations with the trades guys. And it's funny, man, when I initially started this podcast, there was a moment where I veered out of the trades and I started doing like property management firms. And then I was going after like coaches, and I didn't enjoy it as much. The blue collar guys are salt of the earth. They put their heads down. They work their butts off. The skilled labor thing, Josh, that really is when as I have all these conversations, I don't know what to do. Like you can obviously create, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this. You can create a culture, which is amazing, right? You can create a context where the guy can win and have performance-based pay. You can start, and I don't know what you're doing, but Ben is literally taking guys from scratch. He's not even recruiting guys from other trades, which I thought was actually brilliant. But I just eventually believe, I'm like, I just don't see a world where trade school is sexy again. I just don't. And I just don't see a world where Elon Musk and his robots is not somehow going to benefit from all this, because if you don't think in 2 or 3 or 5 years that a robot won't be able to come into your home and replace your, water heater, I think that is eventually coming, So, but I feel it when I talk to these guys. I just want to give them a hug. I'm like, I know how hard it is. Like you're doing great. Like, so what if I got one of your guys just left you? You're doing great. You're about to have another breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what's crazy is, so I'm 41 and I think I'm the second oldest person in the whole company. Our average age is 25 years old because I'll go and I'll grab even like a 17-year-old kid and I'll invest that 3 years into them. By the time they're graduating high school, they're 2 years away from getting their journeyman because I hire on willingness to learn and then just attitude. And beyond that, I don't want all of the baggage that comes from a high performer from another business. They bring so
Yes.
much drama, and it's so
Yes.
much me versus how can I help you? And
Yeah.
our whole company is founded on the best interview I've ever had was a young man that said, "Hey, you can pay me minimum wage. I'm going to show you what I'm worth." And I said, "You're hired." Right then and there. We didn't even go to a second interview. We didn't do anything. That's what I look for. And
That's good.
that's been huge. And so we've been able to do really well bringing them all up. We don't hire anybody from the trades that's been in them either.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think it's such an opportunity. What's ironic is I used to do college financial planning, and the world of AI has created this incredible situation where knowledge is free. So like you can learn to do anything you want. You just have to have the will and the drive to do it. But I do think that the trades are going to be slow to get replaced. And even then, people are still going to prefer a human being to come change out their water heater, right?
Right.
So, even now, like I think the AI receptionist is like, why wouldn't you do that? Overflow and after hours, not to replace your humans, but just to supplement them. And
Yep.
the amount of resistance I'm seeing to that in the trades, even though there's really, really good ones now, like you would have no clue, is crazy. And I think human nature is just really slow to adapt. So there's always going to be opportunity regardless. But for the most part, I think that's why PE has come rushing in, is because they realize this is probably not going to be quick to get replaced by AI or robots or anything like that. So, and I think the trades guys like you are going to get crazy multiples if and when you do want to cash out, Yeah.
Yeah, they've been knocking on the door, and what's really cool is we're one of 3 privately owned here in Idaho. I think 14 of the biggest companies have all sold out. And so I love it. Like I'm one of those guys where I grew up kind of, and I'm shorter too, but I'm like, I always hated bullies. And I feel like how they come in, it was like a challenge to me where I was like, okay, bet, let's figure this out. I'm going to beat you at your own game. And so I've been going head to head with all these P&E companies, and I'm crushing them right now, and I love it. Like that gets me going. I love the challenge of it. But I also understand too that eventually that's going to come a point where it's going to be okay to sell this off, to actually reap the reward of all the good things that we did. And so I'm
Yeah.
not under any delusion that it's not going to happen. I just like the challenge of fighting them right now. So it's been a blast though. I really enjoy every day coming into
I'm
work.
curious to hear your thoughts on that, Josh. Is it easier to compete with those companies? Because one thing I hear about PE run companies is if you call them, they never send the same tech to your home. They don't really focus on customer service. They're typically, focused on getting the biggest sale and, using budget parts and ingredients to do the work. Like, have you found that the market is like a little bit more like open for you in that
Yeah.
context? Okay.
Absolutely. Because they have to charge the same price that I'm charging, only they're not providing the customer service. And
Right.
so they'll get a guy that comes out that doesn't know what he's doing, and he honestly doesn't really care because it's not even the money's going back east or it's going somewhere else. Where with my guys, I make it very clear. I'm like, listen, if you buy this from us, I actually use this money to support my kid's soccer team. And not only that is my sales guys soccer team and the installers, football team or whatever it is, but the money stays here. And when we start talking like that, the customers instantly respond and they realize, oh, those other guys, they were just here for $1. You guys are here for the community. That's why we're having such great success at it.
I love it, man. Did I already ask you to drop your links? Yeah, you did your email and your phone, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Don't go anywhere because I want to keep talking, but thanks for coming on the show.
All right. Thank you.